This is 99.5 Global FM, your number one source for R&B in the Bahamas. Yeah.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women. Hello, everyone, and welcome to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm. As always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in and making GPS a part of your afternoon routine. It is much appreciated because, we got a zillion and one radio stations on the air right now, and you could have chosen to be anywhere. But you decided to spend your afternoon, at least the next 2 hours, with GPS, and I appreciate that a lot. All right, so today is Wednesday, and every Wednesday, as you are, I'm sure, aware by now, we deal with a topic that deals with health. We cover a topic that deals with your health and well-being. We call it Wellness Wednesdays here on GPS, and this is a day we dedicate to helping you to gain more knowledge as to how your body works, what you can do in real time to help your body become healthier, because, as I often say, your health is your wealth. And if you don't believe that, just go have a conversation, if you could, with Steve Jobs. Remember him? One of the wealthiest men to walk this planet. But he ain't here no more. Why? Because he got sick. And all his money that he had couldn't save his life. So your health is really your wealth, because you could have all the money in the world, but if your health is gone, you'd be wishing that you could spend that money just to get your health back. So my philosophy is it makes more sense to do what you need to do up front so that you don't find yourself in a position on the back end having to find all kind of money and all kinds of stuff to try to regain your health that was lost. So in other words, I believe in taking a proactive approach to your health. Don't do damage, and when everything breaks down, then all of a sudden you look into repair damage and get healthier. That don't make any sense to me. And this is what most people do. We go and go and go and keep going and doing things that we know we shouldn't be doing to our bodies. And then when your body finally says, I can't take no more, and starts to break down, then all of a sudden you become interested in, what do I need to do to get rid of this condition? When the far more sensible approach would have been to avoid getting it in the first place. So that's my goal on a Wednesday, to give you information so that you can avoid getting it in the first place. And if you do get it, and when I say it, I'm talking about any degeneration of the body, because that in essence is what disease is, a breakdown or degeneration of the body, then this information will hopefully help you to understand that in spite of where you find yourself, thank God in his infinite wisdom, he created our bodies to be able to heal. And so the ideal is for you to not do the damage in the first place and be well. But if you find yourself in a position where damage has been done, then do not despair. You can fix that problem and get healthy again. So that's what our Wellness Wednesdays shows are all about, giving you the knowledge that you need to become healthier, no matter what condition you find yourself in. That's what today's show is about. And each Wednesday, I try to focus on a different aspect or topic of your health. And today, I'm going to be focusing on weight loss, how to lose weight healthily. Boy, all you got to do is walk around this Bahamas, and you'll see we have a serious problem with obesity. We like to call it sexy fat or sexy big or whatever, but ain't nothing sexy about diabetes. Ain't nothing sexy but high blood pressure. Ain't nothing sexy but all of the health problems that you could be setting yourself up for because of obesity. And even if it's just 10 pounds you want to lose or 110 pounds you want to lose, the information that we're going to provide today will hopefully empower you so that you will now understand why you've been struggling to lose that 10 pounds or why it seems impossible for you to lose 110 pounds because your body just doesn't want to cooperate. Well, I suggest that it's not that your body doesn't want to cooperate. You just haven't been giving it what it needs and doing what it needs to lose the weight. So if that describes you in any which way, or if you know anybody who is battling with their weight and has been on this weight gain, weight loss seesaw or yo-yo or whatever you want to call it, and has tried every diet under the sun, only to lose a couple of pounds and then gain it all back and more when they start to eat regular food again, then this show is for you. So I want you to like and share the show if you're watching via Facebook. And if not, get on the phone, call a friend, tell them, listen, girl, you need to listen to GPS today because Michelle can break down this weight loss thing for you. The telephone numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. Our WhatsApp line to send us text messages only is 801-0271, 801-0271. That's the text line via WhatsApp if you'd like to send us a text message. So let's dive right in. Our first clip is going to explain how weight loss works. Let's go to clip number 1.
As you go about your day, most likely you fit in a few meals and a few snacks. Let's say some cereal or toast in the morning, a sandwich at lunchtime, and then dinner with some rice, some pasta, or some bread. In between, you might have some fruit, a muffin, granola bar, or perhaps a nice coffee from your local Starbucks. All of those foods have a certain kind of nutrient in them, carbohydrate. Foods can be made up of carbohydrates, protein, and fat. Different foods have different amounts of each, so meat, for example, is all protein and fat. Bread is largely carbohydrate, some protein, and barely any fat at all. As carbohydrates are eaten, they get digested and converted into a form of sugar in your bloodstream, and this sugar, called glucose, is then used by the body for energy. The level of glucose in your blood needs to be balanced quite delicately between a certain range. If there's too much or too little, then things can get dangerous or even deadly. So your body uses a clever process of storing away any excess glucose when there's too much. And it does this by sending insulin around the blood, which tells muscle cells and fat cells that they should absorb some glucose from the blood. The body continues to do this until the glucose level is at a safe amount. So, Glucose is absorbed by muscle cells and used immediately or stored for later use, and glucose is also absorbed by fat cells, where it joins with fatty acids and is stored for future use. Muscles have a limit to how much they can store, so if there's a lot of extra glucose, then most of it will need to go into your fat cells. If you go for a period of time without eating, perhaps a few hours, then you have little or no insulin in your blood, and your fat cells are free to release their stored energy back into your bloodstream for you to use. This can only happen when there's no insulin present. The logic behind this is that if there's insulin, that means that there's already too much glucose in the blood, and therefore the fat cells definitely shouldn't release any more. So, when there's no insulin present, the fat cells can release their energy into the bloodstream for you to use. If you eat another meal or a snack with some carbohydrates in it, then the odds are that some more insulin will be released, so your body can balance your blood sugar levels again. For most people, this is a process that happens a number of times each day, and this is why some diets recommend eating 5 or 6 times a day so that your blood sugar levels are more even. But that doesn't get to the basis of why we gain fat and how we can burn it up again though. Over years of eating meals and snacks and releasing insulin, the muscle cells and the fat cells tend to get a little deaf to insulin's message. And the bigger the snacks have been, the bigger this effect. Now this means that the body needs to release more insulin to make sure that the muscle and the fat cells do what they need to do. And therefore the periods of time when insulin is not present tend to get shorter. Or in fact, it may be that the only time when insulin isn't present is overnight, depending on your eating habits. While you sleep, after you've digested the last of your food, there is most likely a period of time when you are using your own fat for energy. And this is possible because insulin won't be present in your bloodstream. Now, you might be asking, what about those muscle cells? They use glucose for energy. And that's absolutely true. They use energy you eat to move you around all day long. The key to the muscle cells, however, is that they are incredibly efficient. And for many people, the muscle cells may be full of energy that doesn't get completely used up during the day. And that means that they don't need a lot of extra energy to stay full. If you exercise so that your muscles are emptied of their stored energy though, then there's lots of energy to be replaced. And this is a very healthy situation for your body because it can store more glucose in your muscles and not so much in your fat cells. With insulin being very important to fat storage and fat burning, it makes sense then that a weight loss method, and one that continues to work into the future, needs to work to minimize the amount of insulin your body sends around your bloodstream. This will help you burn your own fat for energy and also not store any more energy as fat.
All right, so you're going to be hearing a lot about insulin during this show because, as you would have just learned from that clip, if you didn't already know, insulin plays a very, very important role when it comes to the management of your weight. And there are other factors as well, and we're going to cover all of the factors today, but you are going to hear a lot about insulin during this show. You're also going to hear a lot about nutrition in general, because nutritional deficiencies, as you should know by now, but even if you don't, you know that nutritional deficiencies play a significant role in balance of your body, particularly when you consider things like the blood sugar levels of your body, keeping the blood sugar levels balanced and making sure that you have just enough insulin, not too much, not too little in the bloodstream, etc. Nutrition has a lot to do with that. But you will learn as we go through this show that apart from nutrition, there are some external factors that could be contributing to your challenges with weight loss as well. So we're going to talk about all of that. But definitely you're going to be hearing a lot about insulin in this show because it plays such a serious role, a vital role in terms of giving your body what it needs to control weight. A lot of people think that they have to lose weight to become healthy. So, somebody will come to me and they'll say, "Oh, Miss Malcolm, I'm trying to lose this amount of weight, but I gotta lose this weight before I look at getting healthy because this weight is causing me to be unhealthy." Well, I would like to suggest to you that that is not how it works. You don't lose weight to become healthy. You become healthy to lose weight. There is a difference, because the weight gain is simply a symptom. The excess weight that you're carrying is not the problem. It is a symptom of the problem. And as holistic health coaches, we believe in not just focusing on the symptom, but we believe in helping you to understand what is the source of that problem that you may be experiencing, the root cause of the symptom, because obviously once you fix the root cause, then the symptom goes away. So as opposed to only putting you on a diet that focuses only on the symptom, but you're not addressing the underlying cause of the symptom, we believe in looking at your body holistically, figuring out what is the root cause of your weight issues, because it could be nutritional, it could be just a simple blood sugar imbalance, and as you're going to learn in the show, it could be something environmental, or it could even be emotional. We're going to talk about all aspects of that. So again, you're going to hear a lot about insulin during this show, because insulin is really, a very, very important thing. We have to understand how it works. Insulin is not just a concern for diabetics or pre-diabetics. Insulin levels is something that we all need to be concerned about, because that helps to determine our overall health, particularly as it relates to our weight. And so we are going to cover.
People don't lose weight to get healthy. They have to first get healthy to lose the weight. It's get healthy first and then lose the weight second. Why? Because your weight is a symptom. It's not the cause. It's a symptom of an unhealthy body. Losing weight is actually very unnatural to the body. The body doesn't like to lose weight. It goes against its purpose to survive. So it doesn't like to lose anything. So the weight is the tip of the iceberg. The real thing is something that I'm going to show you next. The reason has to do with a very specific hormone that's holding down your metabolism. There are two sets of hormones. Hormones that make you gain weight and hormones that help you lose weight. Most mainstream advice focuses on the calories, but they ignore the hormone triggers. Instead, they try to stimulate the metabolism. They try to give you an appetite suppressant, but that is never going to work. So the hormone that stops you from losing weight is called insulin. A lot of people know this as relating to diabetes, but it has another function, a huge function, and it is the hormone that puts fat not only on your body, but mainly your midsection. It also prevents you from losing weight. It's called the fat storage hormone. And here's what people don't realize. In the presence of even a tiny little bit of insulin, all fat-burning hormones are shut down. What does that mean? It means that if you were to consume half a glass of juice, a glass of wine, a bagel, even a piece of fruit, if you have a problem with this hormone, you're not going to lose weight for the next 48 hours. So when you see someone with belly fat, you can be 100% sure that that person has too much insulin. So the insulin goes up, a person gains weight. When the insulin goes down, they lose the weight. Let's just look at this book called Guyton's Physiology, the authority medical book in every medical school. All aspects of fat metabolism are greatly enhanced in the absence of insulin. So we need to create an absence of insulin to lose weight. Insulin is the switch that determines whether you burn fat or you make fat. So the next question is, what lowers insulin? Here are the things. Number one, carbohydrates. Now you probably already know this, that low-carb diets are very, very healthy. So you want to cut the sugar out, you want to cut the hidden sugars out. That does include the breads, pasta, cereal, crackers, biscuits, waffles, pancakes, muffins, sodas, juice, alcohol, flavored yogurts. Avoid combining protein with sugar. So if you were going to go to a restaurant and order a breaded piece of meat, or maybe it's a hot and sweet sour chicken, from a Chinese restaurant, or like a hamburger with the bun, or a hamburger with the fries, or a hamburger with the Coke, that will greatly spike insulin, way more than if you eat these separated. Okay. Number 3, and this is one that people don't realize. Lean, low-fat proteins trigger insulin more than fattier proteins. So if you were going to buy like a burger, like some burger meat, and you had 95% versus 85%, and there's more fat, I would go for the fattier meat because fat tends to buffer insulin. Lean protein, specifically protein powders like whey protein, that will spike insulin more. That's a new one. Next one, excessive protein. Large amounts of protein convert to insulin. So the ideal amount of protein is between 3 to 6 ounces. Next one, MSG, monosodium glutamate. What is that? That is a chemical that enlarges your taste buds to make the food taste more savory, to make it more delicious than it really is. All the fast food places have MSG in their food. There's MSG in so many foods in the grocery store. But here's the problem. It spikes insulin by 200%. Next one is stress. So I wrote a book on body types. So the adrenal body type is the one with the belly fat, and that's triggered by cortisol. That's a stress hormone. But here's the thing. Cortisol doesn't increase the belly fat directly. It works through insulin. So stress increases insulin. Okay? And lastly, too frequent meals, too frequently eating. That's going to spike insulin. Why? Because eating in general increases insulin.
So does any of that sound familiar with the way we eat here in the Bahamas? You look at a typical plate of food, Bahamian style, and you see carb, 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 and a piece of protein. So we know that too many carbs spikes insulin, so we're guilty there. We know that combining carbs and proteins spikes insulin. We're definitely guilty there. And then we are guilty when it comes to not getting sufficient healthy fats in our diet. So for instance, a really good source of healthy fat is avocados or an egg. Very, very healthy source of fat. You need fat in your diet. Healthy fat though. Okay. So we're guilty there. Stress, we're definitely guilty there because we live extremely stressful lives here. Everything that he spoke about on that list. MSG, my God. Why are we still importing Accent into this country? Because Accent is MSG. Why are we still allowing people to use Accent? Not only does it affect your insulin levels, but it also spikes blood pressure. Pure sodium. Why? So, if you looked at that list that he just provided, we are guilty. We are found wanting on so many levels. Is it any wonder that we have a problem with obesity and blood sugar levels in this country? It's not surprising. It's not, people, this isn't hard to figure out what we're doing wrong. It's not hard. We just need to, bite the bullet and make the decision that we're going to pay attention to what we're doing wrong and fix it. And stop ignoring it or pretending it's not there, because this is information that's hard to find. But again, we put all of our emphasis on just the symptom without looking at the cause of the symptom. And you're not going to fix the problem by masking the symptom alone. That's just delaying the inevitable. Because if you're only masking the symptom, then the degeneration of the body continues, the blood sugar imbalance problem continues, the spiked insulin continues. And if you keep ignoring that long enough, that's going to eventually lead to some serious problems down the road. Now, I see where Ragawang, am I pronouncing that right? Says when you pour food is, that's TY? I'm not sure what is TY. Oh, I see the icon. Okay, so when you're poor, I'm gonna replace that. Bad food is all you can afford. So, New Day diet. Well, that is not necessarily true. That's the easiest food you could gain access to, and it's definitely cheap. But it's not cheap when you continue to eat that, and then you end up with diabetes, and you have to be on insulin, or diabetes leads to kidney failure, and now you need to be on dialysis. So, when you say that's all you can afford, you can't afford not to eat healthier. And the thing is, you just have to be a little creative. So, big thing now in the Bahamas is backyard farming. Man, you don't need 1,000 acres to grow some vegetables in the back of your yard. You don't even need a yard. You get a gallon bottle container. You put some soil, cut that in half, put some soil in that, plant a couple of seeds in that, water it, give it some sunlight, and next thing you know, you've grown your own vegetables. So we really don't have an excuse. Should healthier food be cheaper? Absolutely. Absolutely. But you can't allow that to be your excuse to not find a way to do better, because the longer you don't do better, the more you are setting yourself up for long-term chronic disease. And that's not a good idea. And when it comes to being overweight, weight gain, obesity, etc., that is really just a symptom. And a headache is a symptom. Like a blood sugar imbalance is a symptom. That's just a symptom. So the key is, let's figure it out. Let's figure out a way that we can encourage the masses to eat healthier up front, so we don't have such a strain on our healthcare system on the back end because we eaten a bunch of garbage. Let me tell you, I don't know how many of you would have seen it, but I appeared on Beyond the Headlines last night, and I knew that it would make sense for me to try to eat my last meal before I headed to the station to do that show, because I wouldn't be getting home until the show ends at 9 p.m. And I didn't want to just be getting home to go prepare something to eat. And so what did I do? I was working on some other stuff, so I didn't have time to prepare a full meal per se. So I took out some chicken. And what I do is my chicken that I buy from my local farmers, I cut that up, I season it up, and then I put it in the freezer. And I usually just take it out and take out a piece, throw it in the oven fry, whatever. So I took out my chicken, and I'm running out of time because I've got to be at their station at a certain amount of time. And so I'm like, okay, so I put the chicken in the oven. What am I going to eat with this chicken? Now, typically, us here in the Bahamas, what we do? We think we got to have some starch on that plate, right? So you either got to make yourself some mashed potatoes or some homemade fries, or if you got any rice, cook a little quick rice or warm up some rice if you have some already, because we think we got to have something starchy on that plate to go with that meat. This is just how we eat. I didn't want to do that. So I decided, you know what? It was a chicken breast I had in the oven. I said, let me just make a nice salsa. So I quickly whipped up tomato salsa with a little bit of red onion, or red bell pepper. I threw in some jalapenos in there. I threw in some black olive. What else did I put in there? My seasonings, a little piece of lime over that, and mixed up my salsa. And when my chicken was done, I took it out of the oven, and I just nicely put that salsa on top of that chicken, that roasted chicken, without any starch on the plate. And it was absolutely delicious and satisfying. Now, had I had more time, I would have thrown together a salad as well. Didn't have time for all that. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, Michelle, you only going to eat a piece of chicken and salsa? Is that going to be enough to hold you or whatever? Man, I was more than satisfied. But we have been so conditioned to believe that we got to have 3 starch on the plate, plus the protein, when we just don't have to do it. We don't. So many of the health issues we're facing is not because of genetics, it's because of culture. This is the way my mommy cooked because that's the way her mommy cooked because that's the way her mommy cooked. True story. I remember my grandmother told this story before. True story. She said, this gentleman married a young lady, and when it came to Christmas time, he bought her a ham for the house, and she cut the ham in half and threw away half the ham and kept the other half. So he was like, "Woman, what you doing? You throw away good half a ham." So she said, "Well, that's what my mommy does." So he was like, "Okay, this don't make no sense." So he went to his mother-in-law. He said, "My wife threw away a whole good half a ham." And she said, "That's what you just do." "Well, yeah, that's what my mother did." So they go to Grammy. These 2 women throwing away a whole half a good ham. And they said, "That's because of what you did." And Grammy said, "Child, back on the island, we ain't had no fridge. And we ain't had no way to keep it cold. So we used to cut it in half and throw away half it because it was going to spoil anyhow. And then we just cooked the other half." So she had a reason to do it back then. But because that was the culture that she passed down, the other 2 didn't question why they were doing that. They just continued to do it. So they didn't realize, okay, we ain't in your Grammy day no more. You have a good functioning freezer in your house that you could freeze the other half. But because that's the way Grammy did it and Mommy did it, that's the way I do it. Now, that may be extreme, but this is what we do. So we have to learn to put down our culture because our culture is keeping us sick. Our culture is keeping us fat and obese. Our culture is not serving us well. And we need to learn to make some changes so that we can live longer, healthier lives. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we are going to talk more about the role of insulin, specifically a condition called insulin resistance, and how that affects your ability to lose weight. Stay with us. This is GPS, and we will be back after these words from our sponsors.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Youngevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Weston, Lux, fuel, track life, tough, rough racing, velocity, mud, all-terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Youngevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. And we are back. Welcome back to GPS on this Wellness Wednesday. And we are talking today about how to lose weight, how to understand fat loss, how the body works as it relates to weight gain, and what you can do to improve your chances of achieving the ideal weight for your body, because everybody's different and everybody has an ideal weight. And guess what, y'all? Your body is smart enough to know when you get to your ideal weight. So if you become healthy, and if you stop doing the damage to the body, your body will regulate itself to the point where it gets to its ideal weight. Listen, our God is so awesome. He created this incredible, awesome machine, healing machine called our bodies. Very, very intelligent systems. But things only go wrong when we start to do foolishness to the body and we don't give the body what it needs to function. That's a lethal combination, and far too many of us are guilty of that combination. So we're eating foods we shouldn't be eating. We're not giving our bodies the nutrition they need to function properly. We're living in a very stressful life, a stressful place, a stressful time. We are bombarding ourselves with genetically modified foods or foods that are sprayed with chemicals that cause disease. No wonder our bodies are just giving out, because it's like this all-out war on your health. So you've got to fight back. You have to give your body what it needs to be healthier. Because again, you don't lose weight to become healthy. You become healthy to lose weight. That's exactly what we're going to hear in this next clip, which is going to talk more about a serious problem with insulin that some people are facing. And it's going to explain why they're facing that. And that problem is called insulin resistance.
People don't lose weight to get healthy. They have to first get healthy to lose the weight. It's get healthy first and then lose the weight second. Why? Because your weight is a symptom. It's not the cause. It's a symptom of an unhealthy body. Losing weight is actually very unnatural to the body. The body doesn't like to lose weight. It goes against its purpose to survive. So
My apologies. That was the wrong clip. Now let's go to a clip about insulin resistance. Here it is.
Now, some of you are going to attempt these actions and you're going to lose weight, but you're not going to fully reach your goal because there's a condition that will prevent you from getting 100% results. Let me show you what that is. It's called insulin resistance. Insulin has become dysfunctional. It's become damaged to the point where it doesn't work anymore. The body is resisting it because there's too much of it. So it blocks it. People with insulin resistance have 5 to 7 times more insulin than normal people. So if you were to test someone with insulin resistance, they might have normal blood glucose, but they have very high insulin levels, but the doctors never check that. You would have to test a fasting insulin test, not a fasting glucose test, completely different, right? And insulin resistance is a pre-diabetic state, but a lot of times it will not show up on normal tests until it's too late and you become a diabetic, okay? So now let me show you the symptoms of insulin resistance. It's number 1, belly fat despite how many sit-ups you do. You cannot lose your belly fat no matter what. Number 2, you get plateaued despite eating healthy. Number 3, when you eat carbohydrates, you feel better. It reduces your stress. You become less cranky. Number 4, you crave sugar and carbs. Number 5, a need for a nap after lunch. Number 6, brain fog, dementia, absent-mindedness. You start lacking the clarity of focus, especially when you don't eat. Number 7, worse eyesight, especially as the day progresses. It's like at night your vision is worse. I mean, think about a diabetic. A diabetic, they go blind. Why? Because the blood sugars are needed to be normalized to actually feed the eye. So since insulin resistance is the pre-diabetic state, you could have vision problems well before diabetes, okay? And it's just bad eyesight. Next one, not satisfied after you eat. You need a little something sweet after you eat. Why? Because the cells are insulin resistant. They're blocking insulin, and so you can't get the fuel in the cells. So the cells are starving, yet you gain only this weight. You become fatter, yet you're starving to death. Next one, the need to urinate in the middle of the night. Wherever the sugar goes, the water goes. So in other words, you might have fluid retention, but you also might be just peeing in the middle of the night once or more than once, and that's a symptom of a pre-diabetic symptom of insulin resistance. Number 10, swollen belly as the day progresses. Do you find that in the morning your stomach is a little bit lower, but at the end of the day it's swole up, or maybe after you eat it just swells up? That's insulin resistance. So you can see insulin creates a lot of problems. Now, there are also dangerous long-term side effects of too much insulin as well. Heart disease, diabetes, as you might already know. A fatty liver comes from too much insulin, especially if the person doesn't eat or drink alcohol. It's coming from the insulin part. High blood pressure is too much insulin. That's why when you actually fix the insulin issue, the blood pressure comes down. High cholesterol, because insulin converts sugar into cholesterol and triglycerides. Stroke has been connected to high levels of insulin. Dementia is a little plaquing in the brain that stops the brain from working. And Alzheimer's, amyloid plaques it's called, that comes from too much insulin. So you could see that insulin is the common denominator for so many health problems.
Information is power, but only if applied. So often people come to me and they say, "Oh, Miss Malcolm, I have a problem with high cholesterol, and they want to put me on this cholesterol-lowering medication." When all they really have a problem with is a blood sugar imbalance. Blood sugar imbalances are one of the chief reasons for high cholesterol and elevated triglycerides. But you don't hear that when you go into the medical doctor. Why? Because they focus on symptoms only. So they go, they test, they say, "Oh, your cholesterol levels are so high." What do? We put you on a drug to lower your cholesterol. Now, here is the problem. That drug works. and it works so well that it will lower the cholesterol, but it lowers it everywhere. And so the next thing you know, you start having problems with your brain. Why? Because your brain is mostly cholesterol. They even to this point call dementia and Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. That's what they're calling it now, because there's such a connection between blood sugar levels and the brain. Now, I need you to understand something here. Very, very important. Because oftentimes I do a consultation with somebody and clearly their blood sugar numbers are elevated. And I say to them, well, I see where you have a blood sugar imbalance. We probably need to get you on some nutrition to deal with that. And the first thing they jump is, I'm not diabetic. I've never been diagnosed as being diabetic. I've never been told I'm diabetic. And I say, I didn't say you are diabetic. I said you have a blood sugar imbalance. This is why you're craving for sweets all the time. And this is why you're craving for carbs all the time. And you heard the list that the doc just gave us. Because you have a blood sugar imbalance. But if the doctors are only measuring you for one thing and not the other, that goes missed until it becomes a pre-diabetic or a diabetic problem. So just because you haven't been diagnosed as having diabetes does not mean that you don't have a blood sugar imbalance. You understand imbalance, right? So this is where it's supposed to be. So an imbalance is slightly higher than it ought to be, or slightly lower than it ought to be. Doesn't mean that you have diabetes. It just means that it's not level like it should be. There's an imbalance there. So our goal is to get it balanced. Balance is key here. Okay? So people say it all the time. I hear that so many times when their numbers are clearly, when we do a health evaluation, and their numbers are clearly showing that they have a blood sugar imbalance. But the first thing they jump up with is, well, this can't be right because I'm not diabetic. I never said you were. But you have to be able to see the subtle signs that your body is giving you. The subtle, the symptom is just your body's way of talking to you to tell you, hello, something is not balanced here. We need to pay attention to this. But far too often, we continue to ignore what the body is saying to us. We just pretend that we don't see it. You know what I find amazing? If you get a new car, let's say you buy a brand new car. Even if it's not a brand new car, let's say you have a car and you're driving along and all is well and good, and then the check engine light comes on. Typically speaking, you're not going to ignore that check engine light because you realize that the longer you ignore that, the more you're setting yourself up for a problem down the road. And if you keep driving it without having that checked out, eventually, whatever is the reason why that check engine light was coming on, your vehicle is going to stop working. So you're going to pay attention to that from the very break. Well, why don't we do the same thing with our bodies? Our bodies are constantly giving us signals. Now, sometimes it's just that you don't understand the language that the body is giving us. And again, knowledge is power, but only if applied. So I'm hoping through this series of shows to give you the knowledge that you need so that you can understand when you see that symptom that that's your body's way of sending you a signal that something isn't quite right, that there's something off balance. And then give you the knowledge of what to do to get it back where it ought to be. That's what these Wellness Wednesday shows are about. But far too many of us, well, we like to stick our heads in the sand. We like to pretend that we don't see the check engine light because we ain't got the money to deal with that right now. So I can pretend I don't see that. And so we just keep driving. And the longer we drive without checking for that check engine light, the more of a problem we are setting ourselves up for. And then one day you jump in the vehicle and you turn the ignition and it don't come on. You can't kick the car tire and say, this stupid car. No. The car was warning you all along to check the engine. You decide to ignore the signals. So either you find a couple of dollars and pay up front to check that engine and see what is wrong before it becomes a major problem, or you continue to ignore the signal, and then later on down the line, you got a much bigger problem that can cost you much more to fix than if you had just checked the engine when that light first came on. So this is your check engine warning signal. If you have a blood sugar imbalance, you need to check that engine. We need to look at what is causing that blood sugar imbalance, what is causing the insulin resistance, what is causing you to not be able to lose this weight. And then let's fix it. Because the longer you wait, the more it's going to cost you to fix on the back end. And this is what you need to understand. Now, I said to you that nutrition plays a major role in this, and we're definitely going to talk about that. But you have to understand, and I hope my regulars don't get tired of hearing the same thing over and over again, but I can't assume that everybody who is listening to the show today has heard past shows. So sometimes there's some information that bears repeating. So please forgive me if you've heard it already, but I have to keep saying it. That nutrition is very, very important to maintaining good health. Your body needs nutrition. In spite of what you may be told to the contrary, your body only functions at its best when you have good nutrition. And I stress the word good, because not all nutrition is created equal. And we're going to talk about that on the other side of the break. But first, we have to understand, and you know what? I'll go to the break first. You know, I hear people say it all the time. I don't believe in all these supplements and taking things because I could get everything I need from my food. Well, that's what you think. But on the other side of the break, we're going to figure out why that ain't working for you. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Youngevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Youngevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. All right, Michelle Malcolm here on this Wellness Wednesday. We are talking about weight gain or weight loss, depending on where you sit. Why it's so hard sometimes. You're trying to lose these last 10 pounds or you're trying to lose 110 pounds. And don't act like that is such a strange thing, because it is quite possible that you would need to lose 110 pounds. I have been coming across a lot of those, my 600-pound life clips as of late. And boy, I want to encourage you to make a change and do what you need to do before you get to 600 pounds. That's what you call ignoring a problem. And in many cases, people just don't know what to do. Just don't know what to do. And in some cases, they just don't want to do what needs to be done, because it could be a very emotional thing when it comes to food. And we're going to talk about that a little later in the show. But what you need to understand is that your body requires nutrition to function. And ideally, we should be getting the nutrition from the foods that we ate, the foods that we eat. That's how it was originally designed. And in utopia, in a perfect world, that's exactly what we would be able to do. We'd be able to go and eat something and get all of the nutrients that we need from that. And praise the Lord, thank you for your grace. Problem is, though, that we are at a place now where we're not getting the nutrition from our foods anymore. We're just not, for several reasons. And a major part of the reason is because of the soils from which our food is growing. The better the soil, the more nutrient-rich the soil, the better the fruit. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Yes, thank you. I'm enjoying your show and how you're trying to get us to eat right and live right so that we could die right. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what's supposed to happen. Because, fat people going to heaven, that's a joke.
Yeah, that's a bad one, too.
No, but the thing about it is, I have seen persons who are obese, and then when they get sick, the disease experience or the getting well experience takes a little much longer because of so much constipation that's within the body. So I admire you encouraging us to actually, eat properly and definitely eat less. And the smaller we are, the lighter we are, the less space we take up, and the better we feel.
Yeah, you realize your heart is responsible for pumping blood throughout your body, whether your body is slim or whether your body is obese. And so it just makes common sense that persons who are overweight. And when I say overweight, you could be a bodybuilder. As far as your heart is concerned, that's just weight. It's not differentiating between the weight you get from that muscle mass and the weight that a person has from being obese. It just knows it has to work harder to pump the blood through that larger body. So when you're talking about being overweight or obese, you are putting so much pressure even on the heart, because your heart is responsible for pumping blood throughout your entire body, no matter the size. So this is why oftentimes you see bodybuilders, for instance, have issues with things like high blood pressure, because their heart has to work so much harder just to pump blood through that massive body.
Imagine if you're smoking. Now your lungs congested, and your lungs actually is the one that feeds the heart.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when God breathed into man the breath of life, he didn't punch him in his chest. He actually gave him the Holy Spirit. The lungs really is the key too.
Well, smoking is never a good idea. There's nothing good that can come out of that. Nothing.
But you know,
and for the record, just before you go on, for the record, for those of you who stop smoking a cigarette and start vaping and think you're doing something good, just as bad or worse.
Worse. You should see how many and people are trying to sneak. You know, they walk in and they feel as though something this ain't right for me, but they're trying to sneak a little whoop and then puff it out. What does that do for you?
Well, you know, it goes back to, you know, babies like to suck their thumb for comfort.
Oh boy.
That is a way of us pacifying ourselves for comfort.
But you're talking about still in the early development stage of the id. So your ego even ain't reached yet.
Well,
blow me away.
But that's a way to pacify yourself.
Yeah, but we seem to have a lot of people walking around here who don't even have an ego.
Wow.
They're still looking for gratification as an infant. Boy, we in trouble.
Big trouble.
Anyway, thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling. Numbers to call 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. WhatsApp line for text messages only 8010271, 8010271. All right, so let's get back to this topic about the foods that we eat. It is impossible in this 2022 for you to get all of the nutrients that you need by eating food alone. It's impossible. Because unlike the soils that our grandparents grew their food in, which was far more nutrient dense, the soils that we're growing our food in today just don't have that many nutrients. And the quality of the produce depends on the quality of the soil. I remember many years ago, I was at the Ministry of Tourism at the time and was assigned to travel with our Olympic culinary team to Germany for an Olympic culinary competition. And we stayed, my cameraman and I, at this quaint little hotel. And every evening, they used to put a bowl of apples on the front desk for guests. Now, first and foremost, these apples were humongous. I have never seen apples that big before, because we're used to the apples that we get in the food store. When I tried the first apple one evening, I bit into that thing and it was an epiphany. I have never tasted an apple that tastes that good. And I thought, oh my God, is this what apples are supposed to taste like? Absolutely delicious. And it was so big, I didn't need to eat anything else for the rest of the night. That was dinner. But the apples that are grown in other soils, they're smaller, they're bland, they ain't got much taste, generally speaking. So it really depends on the soil that you grow your food in. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good day, Michelle Malcolm. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I guess I'm okay. Michelle, I call you biased again today, man. You know, to put a show on for people who ain't got no fat on their body.
Yeah, but the majority of the people do have fat on their body. So you every time I do one of these shows, you go out and say that, right? But the majority of our population don't have the same problem you have. I talking to the masses now.
I got a problem being born in that.
I didn't say that. But you know, you keep calling asking why I'm talking about, you know, but
I understand why
the masses have a problem with being overweight. So I'm talking to the masses.
I know the most people in this country are obese. But I mean, once in a while they can slip one and be a boy, man. I mean, come on, man, not every show. I ain't mean every show, but I mean, when you talk
What you
about
need to do is you need to leave your telephone number with my producer and let me do a one-on-one consultation with you to address your problem.
yeah, man. Like,
all right.
Hang up on it. Or
and maybe you just have a high metabolism, but I keep telling you, the masses don't need to hear our show. The masses, we got a problem in the opposite direction.
But I mean, as a citizen too, I believe, and I mean, you can't leave me out.
I'm not saying I can leave you out, but I'm dealing with the masses right now. We got a bigger problem on the other end of the spectrum. All right?
Yeah,
so leave your number with my producer.
Okay.
I will send you the health evaluation form. You fill out the form, and then we will do a consultation to figure out why you are having a difficulty gaining weight. Okay?
All right.
All right. Okay, so let's get back to the topic at hand. Not all soils have the same nutritional content. Some territories have richer soil than others, and you can taste the difference in the food, the quality of what comes from that soil. And unfortunately, because our soils have been so depleted, and also in the United States, where we get the majority of our food from, where the soils have been so depleted of nutrients, we're not getting it in our foods anymore. And so we're eating, even if we're eating organic, I tell people all the time, just because you're eating organic don't mean you're getting the nutrition that your body needs. Because if the soil is not nutrient dense, then the foods that you're eating that are coming from that soil are not going to help you much. You're going to have to eat so much of it just to get the amount of nutrition that you need. So I'm going to go to this next clip that explains why you can't do it all through why you're not going to get it all through the foods that you eat alone.
Medicine, healthcare, really is the management of symptoms. They're not getting you healthy. What's missing in healthcare is the health part. So what we want to do is we want to get you healthy, then lose the weight. We want to get the insulin system healthy. We want to get the hormones healthier so you have a chance to lose weight. So here's the question. Can you do it with food alone? That's a very good question. Maybe if you were to have all organic food that's from fertile soils, that from the farmer's market or the health store, and you can make sure that it's grown on soil that's very, very healthy, you could probably do it. But here's the problem. In the US, the soils are so depleted. In the 1900s, the nutrition content was so much higher in America than it is now. And you can actually research that and find that. I think the USDA RDAs, if you look that up, which I have, like the nutrition was way higher. Now it's depleted because the farmers have not been putting the nutrition back in. Your food is only as healthy as the soil it grows on. Let's just take one mineral that insulin is dependent on, and that has to do with this one mineral called potassium. Potassium is something that you need in large quantities. You need 4,700 milligrams every single day. Now you might say, well, I eat a banana a day, so that should be enough, right? Bananas only have 300 milligrams. So how many bananas would it take to equal 4,700 milligrams? If one banana is only 300, that's 15 bananas. You'd have to eat 15 bananas every single day to get your potassium requirement. Let's say avocados. Avocados are high in potassium, right? You still would need 5 avocados every single day. You would need 10 cups of vegetables every single day to get your requirement for potassium. Why is this? That's weird. It has to do with the soils. The soils are so depleted. You're consuming empty nutrition. Even when you eat the food, remember growing up how the food used to taste really good? Now it's like empty, a tomato. And you go to maybe other countries, it's like rich, it's amazingly delicious. So the point is that this is just one little mineral. So that blew me away when I found that out, but it is the reason why it's causing our endocrine system to suffer and creating massive deficiencies in hormones and glands.
So I want you to understand something, that most people who are walking around that are obese are actually starving to death. I know you're like, but what? They're eating all the time. Yeah, but they ain't getting the nutrition that their bodies need. And that's why their bodies keep giving them cravings to go eat more, because they're starving to death, nutritionally speaking. So understanding the quality of the nutrients that you're receiving, whether it's through the foods that you're eating or through supplements, is extremely important to this whole question of weight loss. Now, not all supplements are created equal. Very important point. I actually got a message just today, I believe it was, from someone saying, okay, I don't understand what's going on because I'm taking supplements, but my numbers aren't changing. This is still the same. I just had this test with the doctor, yada, yada, yada. And that's because of the quality of the supplements that you're taking. Not all supplements are created equal. Many people go to the pharmacy or a convenience store and they pick up some vitamins over the counter, and they're cheaper, for sure. Cheaper. But there's a reason why they're cheaper. You ain't getting what you think you're getting out of that. Why? Because of the way that those supplements are formulated, made from minerals in their raw state. And your body's not designed to absorb minerals in their raw state. Your body is designed to absorb plant-derived minerals. So if you're buying something over the counter that's cheap, but it's made from minerals in their raw state, you are throwing money down the drain. Your body is not absorbing that, and this is why you are still having the health problems that you're having. So don't blame nutrition. Blame the fact that you are getting poor nutrition. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Okay.
Hi, caller, you on the air?
Yes. Good afternoon, Michelle. How you doing?
Excellent. How are you?
Great. And what you said just now is so true. I ain't gonna call the name, but I think I can spell ONE-DAY. You go to the store and you buy it, and the only way to really test it properly, Michelle, you drop it in a glass of water. If it don't start to dissolve in about 5 minutes,
that's a good
you
test.
can pass it out.
Mm-hmm.
You agree, right?
Yeah, it's a good test.
And you can, then some people, they clean in the commode, they could read all the sign on it, ONE-DAY. Or the other one start with C.
Yeah.
You could read, so you're not getting it. Years ago, biblical time, when they used to plant, they used to leave the ground for 7 years.
To replenish.
To replenish itself.
Yeah.
So that's like you said, that's why a lot of people, they eating all the time, but they're not getting no nutrition, phytonutrients, so they're always hungry.
Right.
So that's why they continue to eat.
Right.
They say, but I'm eating this fruit and this, that, and that. But you're not getting no nutrition from it.
Nothing.
So you're always hungry.
Always hungry.
Always hungry. Always eating. You know, the tomatoes today that grow now, it tastes like cardboard.
I know. And there's a
Unless
reason
you
for
go
that.
to the farmer's market, you get those, some that still growing it naturally, and you know, they, but oh man, it's terrible. And so that's why you said you got to be careful what you buy. Or some people say, you know, sometimes it only be ground up rock, or sometimes the top of the fill is ground up newspaper and all of that.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's not natural. And like I said, they don't break down in time, even to get to the body. So maybe you're only getting 1% out of it. And you wonder, well, I taking this for high blood pressure, I taking this, but I ain't feeling no better.
Right.
So you're going to have to spend some quality money to get quality greens. And I tell people, you can get, because you, like you said, you can eat all the greens and everything, but if you not find a company that sells good nutritional greens and stuff like chlorophyll and all of that, you're doing the body an injustice. A very bad injustice. And so that's why it's so important. And with this heat now too, people got to, they hydrating on, Michelle,
so
the big G.
Gatorade?
Yeah. And that's one of the worst things, because you got the yellow, the green, the blue, the pink.
The different
and
dyes.
that's FDC food coloring, loaded with sodium. And they could just take a natural coconut water off the tree, or get some water and put a little pink Himalayan salt, or add natural salt in the water, and you're good to go because you're hydrating the body
Naturally.
with all the minerals and everything inside of it.
Right.
Good.
No,
All right, Michelle.
you're absolutely right. Thank you so much for calling.
All right.
You know, your body knows what it needs, and so it's constantly scanning, looking for those 90 nutrients you often hear me talk about. 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 3 essential fatty acids. Your body knows what it needs. It's looking for it all the time. And when you're not getting it in your food, when you're not getting it with the supplements that you're taking because they're made from the minerals in their raw state, in other words, ground up rocks, your body can't absorb that. And so it's constantly scanning. Now, back in the days of my grandparents, they don't do this anymore. But back in the days of my grandparents, my grandmother used to work the fields. And they had this technique called slash and burn. And the ashes from the burning were actually minerals. And they would mix that back into the soil. So the foods that they were eating back then had a lot more nutrition in them, nutrient content because of that one practice. Now, obviously, with modern day techniques, they don't do that anymore. But if you're not finding a way to replenish the soils of the foods that you're eating, you're not getting the nutrients that you think you are. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hi, good afternoon, Michelle.
Hi.
I'm calling from Freeport.
How you doing?
I heard the gentleman who called, and he was talking about how his metabolism is so fast and whatnot. But it just reminded me of an aunt of mine who had died a couple of years ago. And this woman was in really, really good shape. But she died from diabetes. One of the things that it also reminded me of is the fact that many of us, even though we're skinny or in shape and we look a certain way, we have that certain aesthetic, we, like you said, do not consume the right amount of vitamins that our body actually needs to sustain itself. And so therefore, we just eating, I like to say cardboard, taking up space, but no nutrition. And it's something that we have to also almost reprogram the humans into not looking at the outside, the aesthetic. Yes, we have a lot of persons who are overweight, but some people who are skinny are in worse health and shape.
This is true. Well. This is true. This is absolutely true. All right. Thank you so much for your call. No, that's true. This show today is focusing on obesity, overweight, how to lose weight, etc. But just because you're slim don't mean you're healthy. Okay? So I'm not trying to insinuate that at all. It's just that this particular show is dealing with how to lose weight healthily. Okay? So I thank that caller for calling in and making that point. So how many people do you know who are constantly on a diet? Every diet fad would go around, they trying it. I didn't hear about so many diets throughout my life. The watermelon diet and the grapefruit diet and this diet and the next diet and all kind of diet. And they've been dieting for the last 30 years and still overweight. And some of them, they start off good. They start off losing weight and they lose this weight. Especially those diets where you go on these, like all you do is drink these meal replacements the whole time. Yeah, you can lose weight, but eventually you're going to start eating food again. And the problem with many of these diets is when you go back to eating food, you put on all that weight you lost and then some. So diets don't work. And there's a reason why diets, some of them, fail. So I want you to listen to this to understand why dieting doesn't work.
Over the course of 42 months of researching why we get fat in the first place and why most diets fail, I uncover the following 5 diet mistakes that diets make. Diets fail today because they fail to address the critical role that chemicals play on fat storage. According to modest estimates, we are exposed to over 700,000 toxic chemicals every single day. In fact, the average female, before they even leave their bathroom, is exposed to and wears up to 500 different types of toxic chemicals. From her shampoos to hair care, to eye makeup liner to foundation, all these toxic chemicals get absorbed into our skin and end up in our bodies. Now, our bodies are organic mechanisms, and essentially they do not know how to detoxify synthetic man-made chemicals. And so the best option, instead of keeping it around in your blood or in your organs, they absorb it into your fat cell. And I want you to think of a fat cell as a water balloon. They expand and contract based on the amount of foods that we eat, the type of foods that we eat, and the type of chemicals that we expose these fat cells to. So what makes matters worse is these fat cells expand rapidly because once they absorb these toxic chemicals, they have to dilute the toxicity, rapidly advancing the size of those fat cells. You see, unless you address fat fertilizing foods and fat fertilizing chemicals, you'll never seem to lose weight.
Somebody told a joke. They say, I see why I can't lose no weight because my shampoo say extra body. And you may say, well, that's a silly joke, but there's something to that. Don't go throw out all your shampoo because you say that's what caused you to gain weight. But what you put on your skin is absorbed. What you brush your teeth with gets in. And we are exposing ourselves to a lot of toxins through the products that we're using every single day that are getting into our system and, believe it or not, over time, building up, and they're causing issues. I learned when I was going through my challenge with mold that toxicity is a very important part of the weight gain problem. And I was shocked to learn that. So if you are living in some kind of toxic environment, you're going to have a hard time losing weight. And he just explained it, he sort of quickly went over it, but your body will find a way to protect itself by finding a place to put those toxins. We're going to get into more of it on the other side of the break because we're about to take a break in a minute or two. But I was shocked to learn when I went abroad to detoxify after being exposed to black toxic mold for so many months. The practitioner said to me even back then, most people who are overweight are not overweight because of overeating. They're overweight because their bodies are so toxic. They have such a high toxic load. They're carrying such a high toxic load. And this is why they're overweight. And I was like, really? Wow, who knew? So it could very well be that the reason why your diets aren't working, the reason why all other efforts that you're making aren't working is because you're being exposed to some kind of toxin that is causing your body to store fat. So we're going to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we're going to show you exactly how your body handles toxins, because toxins could be the reason why you are struggling to lose the weight. Stay with us. More on the other side of this break.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Youngevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 hyperimmune egg powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Glasses love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Youngevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun. And we are back. Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here on this Wellness Wednesday when we look at a topic that is important to your health and well-being. And that topic today is weight loss, how to make it easier to take it off and keep it off. So I have, well, let me throw out the numbers first. 3260271, 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line to send us a text message only is 801-0271, 801-0271. I have a message that says, "Hi, Ms. Malcolm. I'm listening to the show and you're providing profound and exciting information. I am interested in insulin deficiency. I have never heard of that term, and it explains the excess belly fat that I see in our community. My vitals are always good, but I started developing excess tummy fat, so I quit the rice. But when I stopped eating rice for about 2 weeks, the fat disappeared. I'm not overweight because I work out 4 to 5 times a week, but knowledge is power." Well, that rice is carbs, which was affecting your insulin levels. So, yeah. Understand, though, that in spite of everything that I'm saying today, it doesn't matter. I say it all the time. How, where you are on the spectrum, your body is intelligent enough to know what it needs to do to correct itself. We just have to give it the support that it needs to do so, and that is nutrition. But I often say to my clients, there is no amount of nutrition that can outdo 2 things. Number 1, a poor diet, and number 2, toxins. No amount of nutrition can outdo toxins. You could be taking nutrition till you blue in the face, but if you are constantly in a toxic environment where you're constantly taking into your system toxins, the toxin will eventually win. You've heard me tell my story before, most of you, about what I went through when I was going through the black toxic mold poisoning. I decided at the time that I didn't know what was wrong, but I knew that whatever it was, I was going to fight it with nutrition. So I took a lot of nutrition every month. This is when I was living in Bimini. Every month, a big box of nutrition would arrive for me. And I remember one day, I think it was the customs officer or somebody, Malcolm, you selling these things? I say, no, all of that for me. I try to fight whatever this is that's going wrong in my body. I just don't know what it is. So I tried all these different things. Well, thank God I did that. Because when I went off to detox, the practitioner said to me very clearly, she said, I was teetering. I was at the edge of the cliff. But it was the nutrition that I had been taking that was helping my body to fight. Now, had the good Lord not revealed to me that that was the toxin from mold that was making me sick, eventually the toxin was going to win. Because as much nutrition as I was taking, I was still teetering. But like she said, at least I had that nutrition to give my body something to fight with. But eventually, I was going to lose that battle. Because there's no amount of nutrition that can outdo toxins. And this is why you need to pay close attention to this next clip, because this is going to explain to you how toxicity affects your body, particularly as it relates to weight.
Are you gaining weight and don't know why? Did you know that stored toxins actually make you fatter? So many patients complain of an inability to lose weight, no matter what they eat and how much they exercise. They complain of an obstacle to their losing weight. As we live on this planet and as we age, our total toxic burden goes up. As this toxic burden goes up, our toxins are stored in our fat cells. Most toxins are fat soluble, which means they're fat loving. They readily enter and stay stored in the fat cell. Once they're in the fat cell, they have to be coaxed out to be eliminated from your body. Toxins that are stored in fat cells cause two things to happen. The first is a decrease in thermogenesis. Thermogenesis is heat production in the body. Once there's enough heat production in the body, it aids the body in being able to burn stored fat. Thermogenesis is governed in part by your thyroid gland and also by the sympathetic nervous system and its related chemicals, those that are involved in the fight or flight system. As your total toxic burden goes up, your ability to produce heat or your thermogenesis goes down, sometimes by up to 3 to 5%. Over the period of a year, that 3 to 5% can actually add up to about 10 pounds of weight gain. Second problem that occurs with an increased toxic load is a decrease in what we call lipolysis. Lipolysis is the process by which fat is turned into energy to be used by cells. So once there's a demand for energy, let's say from exercise, lipolysis takes place to allow the fat cells to release the fat to be used as fuel. So in summary, stored toxins causes two major obstacles for weight loss. One is a decrease in thermogenesis or your thermostat. So you're not able to burn fat. And lipolysis is decreased, which means you cannot use the fat that you've stored as energy. Both things aid in weight gain and eventually obesity. Here's a few quick tips of what you can do. Obviously, you want to minimize your exposure to toxins. Second of all, check your thyroid with your doctor. Ask for the free T3 in addition to the TSH and the free T4. The free T3 actually is involved in your metabolic rate. If your free T3 is under 3.1, this could be a source of the inability to lose weight. The third thing is to increase fiber in your diet. The goal is actually 35 grams per day. An increase in fiber helps eliminate and shuttle fat out through the stool for elimination. Increasing your fruits and vegetables, 5 to 7 servings per day is what I recommend. And you can actually get fiber from rice and oat bran as well. Another tip would be to include fat in your diet. Often when people detox, they want to take fat out of their diet. But healthy sources of fat such as avocados, nuts, eggs all help in aiding the elimination of fat-soluble toxins out through the bowel. Lastly, find an infrared sauna in your area, or better yet, even buy one for your home. An increase in sweating supports thermogenesis and aids in getting some of these toxins out through our sweat. I generally recommend somebody starting to sweat 25 to 45 minutes at 130 to 135, depending on how you respond to that.
So, for the record, we don't, in the school that I was trained in, we don't push any oat products because, it contains something that can damage your gut. So, there are other sources of fiber other than oat bran, and we don't recommend that you do oat bran. But understand that there's a direct correlation between the toxins and the fat. Now, here's the thing, and she explained very well what it does. Here's why the body puts the toxin in the fat cells, because when you're being bombarded with these toxins, whether it's living in a place that's moldy or working in a place that's moldy or putting some kind of chemical on your body or in your hair that is very, very toxic and it seeps in, or constantly brushing your teeth with a particular kind of toothpaste that's getting under the gums and getting into your bloodstream. However, the toxins are entering, just walking down the street in Nassau where there's so much stuff being spewed out of the back of these cars. There's so many ways that you can be exposed to toxins. Now, here's what the body does. Again, remember, your body is very, very intelligent. And so it knows that it's got to protect your organs. So it says, okay, this toxin got in. We got to figure out where to put this because we have to protect our organs, because your body's job is to keep you alive. That's all your body's interested in doing, keeping you alive. So it says, okay, where are we going to store all of this toxic stuff that's coming in? I know. Let's create some new storage containers where we can put all of these toxins coming in. And it just so happens that those storage containers we call fat cells. So the more toxins you are exposed to, the more fat cells your body will develop. It's just trying to find a place, or the more toxins will get into your fat cells. Your body's just trying to find a place to put the toxin in. It's trying to find a place to store it to protect your organs, because it's got to keep you alive. And if keeping you alive means you keep gaining weight because you keep being exposed to a toxin, then that's what it's going to do. Now, that obviously creates other problems, but your body's just trying to cope. So you're going to be, listen, when I was being poisoned with that mold, I wasn't eating anything extra, but I could not stop putting on weight. I blew up like a whale. Even my shoes got too small because my feet everywhere, I was just blowing up. And you know how Bahamian people go, we so judgmental. God, what you eating over there in Bimini? You need to stop eating yourself magic. Why are you putting on all this weight? Listen, y'all need to stop that foolishness, because people who put on weight, they're not oblivious to the fact that they put on weight. You don't need to remind them that they put on weight. That's not your job. For those of you listening to me who think that's cute to do that, you don't know what that person is dealing with. It could very well be a medical condition. But you, with your far self, will remind them of what they already know they're dealing with. Stop it. That ain't your business. And most of y'all who like the quick talk about, why you putting on so much weight? Y'all ain't got a mirror in y'all house, eh? Because most of y'all ain't slim. Also like to remind people that they putting on weight. They know they putting on weight. They see the clothes getting tight. They don't need you to remind them of that. So stop it. It's too fast. But I digress. So, two things: toxins and poor eating habits. You cannot outdo a poor diet with nutrition. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Sorry for calling back, Michelle. you need to do a show one of these times on all the things that put toxins in the body, like shampoo, lotion, toothpaste, underarm deodorant. And especially, you could get the most expensive underarm deodorant. The first ingredient in it is what? Aluminum.
Yeah.
And you rubbing that underneath your arm over and over. I use one that is a plant-based. It's solid, and you only have the moisture top.
Okay.
And that, Michelle, I had that now for 2 because it lasts long, and I can put that underneath my arm, and you just moisture top. And the lotion with sodium lauryl sulfate with the shampoo, and you washing the baby hair, and you massaging that in their hair, and in their skin mineral oil. What you think where it is going? The life of the blood is where? In the blood. So the blood is being,
it's absorbing it for sure. It's absorbing it.
It is absorbing in the skin. So all of those things. So one of these days you need to do a show on that. All the things, and especially because everybody uses underarm deodorant from the big 8.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's a really good
Use
idea.
N with N, and and so it's aluminum. All the most expensive. You read it. Even and guess what, Michelle? People get food. They'll write, aloe in the lotion, but check that the aloe is. It's the last ingredient, so that means only a minute.
Not very much, yeah.
It's only a thing to sell.
So do me a favor. Leave the name of that that product you mentioned for the underarm. Leave that with my producer, please, and tell me where I could find that.
Okay, good.
Because let me tell you, antiperspirant is different from deodorant. They're not the same. Antiperspirant stops you from perspiring. Deodorant masks the odor of the perspiration. So antiperspirant is more concerning because it's actually stopping the body's function to rid itself of toxins under the armpits. So these are things, that's a very good idea. I will definitely look at doing that show. All right, I want to get to one more clip. And this one is important because a lot of people... Now, one thing we didn't get to talk about on the show, and that's the role of cortisol, which causes belly fat, excess belly fat, but time does not permit me to go there. So you want to be careful with cortisol as well. And that is released especially when you are under a lot of stress. Cortisol is what is used in the fight or flight response. So back in the days of the caveman, if he was faced with imminent danger, he would do one of 3 things. He would have to fight that animal that was about to attack him, or he had to run as fast as he could to get away from it, or he would freeze, pretend to be dead or whatever, and hope the animal leave him alone. So you've got 3 reactions: flight, fright, or freeze. Flight, fight, or freeze. Now, flight and fight requires a lot of processes in the body for you to build up enough to fight back or to run. And so your body would use up that cortisol that it developed for you to be able to respond. Nowadays, our danger that we face is the person who sideswipe you in traffic. And when you respond with, when your body responds to that stimulant, it's going through the same processes it would have gone through back in the caveman days. But they used to burn that off. We ain't burning it off no more. So cortisol is a problem as well because of these highly stressful lives we are living. Okay? But time does not permit for me to go deep into that. But here is another one that we need to pay attention to. And this is the mindset. Our relationship with food. Because for a lot of people who have a problem with weight, it's because they're using food to pacify themselves, to deal with some kind of trauma, some kind of emotional situation that's going on in their life. So they get hurt by somebody, they turn to food as a way of comforting themselves. So there's this emotional attachment to food. And so as opposed to eating the food simply because you need the nutrients to live, they eat that food to help pacify themselves, to be able to deal with a particular emotional stress. And so you have to be very mindful. They call it mindful eating. To be careful that you are not one of those persons who is pacifying themselves with food, because that will wreak havoc on your waistline. So let's talk a little bit. Let's listen to this last clip about intuitive eating, mindful eating.
Hi, I'm Shelly Johnson. My heaviest weight was 304 pounds. I currently weigh 130 pounds. I started using food when I was really young as a way to make myself feel better, or if I didn't want to feel anything, and I turned to it for comfort. And I did that throughout my childhood. It was my friend when I needed a friend. It was the way that I soothed myself when I was upset. And I used food in order to help myself deal with my life. I think I was yo-yo dieting for at least 20 years. I would pretty much try anything, and anything that anybody told me to do, I would give it a shot. And I remember eating rice cakes and lettuce for about a month. Rice cakes, lettuce, and water, and that was about it. And of course I lost weight, but the minute I started eating normal foods again, I gained it all back. I would lose 70 pounds and gain 85 pounds. It got untenable at one point. I didn't want to keep living like that. And so one day in my journal, I wrote, if it's not about the food, then what is it? And that's what started my journey. And then eventually that turned into a book that I wrote called Start Where You Are, Weight Loss. And it's about my journey, and it's also about helping people see what they need to do in order to have permanent weight loss. I use exercise now as something to keep me strong. I don't use it anymore as a way to burn calories. That's how I used to look at it, and I don't look at it that way anymore. I lap swim, and that's meditative for me, so I really enjoy that. I do yoga for the same reason, it's meditative. And I train in Krav Maga martial arts, which is lovely. It's self-defense, but it's also a huge stress relief to beat up a bag for an hour a few times a week, so that's fantastic. I started something called intuitive eating, which is when you eat when you're hungry and you stop when you're full. There's no calorie counting, there's no restrictive foods, and that's actually what saved me and stopped the crazy making thinking. Because the dieting and the restrictive dieting especially was making me absolutely crazy. The minute I got told I couldn't have bread or chocolate or some other kind of food that I really enjoyed, then I would be focused on that, and it made me crazy. When I first started intuitive eating, I would track my weight, and what I realized is that I didn't always lose weight every week. Sometimes I actually gained weight. And that was hard for me to keep going because I thought, well, maybe it's not working. But what I realized is once I started tracking what my body was doing, I just had to calm down because my body was just going through normal patterns. It was about trusting my body and trusting myself. And the amazing thing now is that before I would binge days, weeks, months, and I would gain all the weight back. And now I had a binge of 4 cookies, and I stopped myself and I said, okay, what's the matter? What do you need? And when I walked it back, it turned out I'd been rejected by somebody, and that was the emotion. That's why I was overeating. And then the food, the want to abuse food was gone. And so that's the difference. It's huge. Back then, dieting and food was probably 90% of my thought process in my life, and now 5% maybe. It's not a concern.
I thought that was a great clip to play because a lot of our problem is emotional eating. We turn to food for comfort, to help us deal with life. And That's not a good idea, people. That's not what food should be. So it's going to take some emotional intelligence. It's going to take us being willing to face the real challenges of what we're trying to pacify, as opposed to using food or any other addictive thing like alcohol. Some people turn to alcohol to pacify their hurt and pain. Some people turn to food. Neither work, because it doesn't cause the problem that you're trying to escape to go away. It's just a temporary good feeling. So you have to be very mindful of understanding what is your relationship with food. And then you have to do the work to have what I call a paradigm shift, no pun intended, to understand that that is not working for me anymore. Because what I'm suggesting today is not about a diet, it's about lifestyle changes. But lifestyle changes can only happen with mindset shifts, where you examine realistically your emotional connection with food and you make the changes necessary to improve. For me, initially, going gluten-free was difficult. Very, very hard for me, because some of the foods that I loved the most contained gluten. Listen, I could live off of guava duff, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, especially if it's a good one. Don't come to me with them baked things, which y'all is called guava duff, because I ain't guava duff, that's guava cake. I talking about the old-fashioned guava duff, in the double steamer and the pillowcase, and old-fashioned guava duff. That was my weakness. I grew up eating that and loving it. But I came to the realization that I couldn't eat gluten anymore, because as much as I was enjoying the food was damaging my body. So I had a choice to make. Continue to eat these foods that are giving you 5 minutes of pleasure, but are causing you serious pain, or giving up those foods because they're causing you serious pain, even though they would give you 5 minutes of pleasure. So I had to make a change, a mindset shift, a paradigm shift in my relationship with that particular food. So now when I go around a family gathering and they're serving duff or macaroni and cheese or anything else that contains gluten, cake or whatever, I don't look at that anymore as that 5 minutes of pleasure, which it would be. I see that for what it really is, which is pain, which is damage to my gut, which is malabsorption of nutrients, which is nutritional deficiencies, which is the onset of a degeneration of the body, which is, I could go on and on and on and on and on, just from eating that guava duff. So I look at that and I no longer see the 5 minutes of pleasure. I see that chain reaction of pain. And now I can go around my family and friends and not even give it a second thought to eat something that has gluten. And they could be all around me eating it, and I'm like, no thanks, not for me. It requires a mindset shift. It requires an honest examination of your relationship with food. And if you find that you are a person who uses food as a pacifier, I want to encourage you today to stop doing that. Because at the end of the day, it's creating another problem for you, which is worse than what you're trying to avoid facing. So I want to encourage you today, like and share the show, listen to it a couple of times, just in case you may have missed something, so that you can get a better idea of what you can do to get to your ideal weight. because it's not about being slim just for the sake of being slim, but it's getting to your ideal weight for your specific body. And once you get healthy, your body knows what to do. And the weight will literally melt away. It happened to me. I stopped eating gluten, I healed my gut, and I was shocked at how that weight literally just melted away. And if it can work for me, it can work for you. That's my time, y'all. I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Tomorrow, we're going to be looking, tomorrow's the anniversary of the landfall of Dorian in the Bahamas, a very sad occasion 3 years ago. And tomorrow we're going to be talking to some persons on the island, from the island of Abaco, if I can, maybe one or two from Grand Bahama, about surviving Dorian and, more importantly, looking with hope towards the future. That's tomorrow's show. Don't miss it. It's going to be powerful. Until then, I'm Michelle Malcolm. Thanks so much for joining us, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a good one.